took me on a personal tour of the artwork, and it was the first time he had been inside the gallery with a visiting public.
The idea that these aren't just famous artists, these are famous pictures by famous artists, that they're here. You don't have to be a snob or a rich person to love fine art.
And then there's the Renoir.
One of the most important things about Impressionism, starting in 1870s, was the fact that the artists painted normal things. That's why we all like Impressionism, and that's why the great masterpieces of Impressionism sell at auction for more money than old masters, because they're subject matters that we as people identify with more often.
To Steve Wynn, the Bellagio is less a hotel than an experience.
The important thing about Bellagio is that you can look at the pictures, smell the flowers, hear the music, and in here, life is good.
On your next visit to Las Vegas, the Bellagio is a must-stop. No, I didn't say you had to stay there, but you do want to say you've been there. With 21 full-time botanists for the gardens, 17 elegant restaurants, a shopping concourse lined with Tiffany and Gucci, an 1,800-seat opera house, impressive rooms with thoughtful touches, and, oh yes, there's a casino. Don't forget, the Bellagio is a place to gamble. See, a casino. Can you believe that in Las Vegas? Unbelievable.
Very unusual.
Now, Steve Wynn tells me he doesn't even know how to deal blackjack, but it really is a casino. And every morning, I must tell you, his first wake-up call is from the casino telling him what he did the night before. So, artwork notwithstanding, it's a casino.
And one thing that you did mention is the room rates, and I was really surprised at how affordable they were, starting at $159 a night. And I understand that all that art is for sale.
Yes, it is.
If the price is right.
That's
well,
the key.
Here's a fact for you. The entire collection is estimated to be worth $300 million. So bear that in mind when you make an offer.
Now, to get in touch with the Bellagio, to buy one of those paintings, or just maybe even stay there, call the number on your screen. And if you missed that, you can always catch it again on our website at travelchannel.com. And now it's time for our last hot deal.
Swissair is offering package deals to Europe, giving you a choice of travel to one of 13 European destinations. The deal includes round-trip airfare, 3 nights hotel stay, and a daily breakfast. For example, you can travel from New York to...
You'll become fertile 2 months later. Now, there are a couple of interesting issues here. First of all, where's the safety issue? I mean, let's assume this thing actually worked, which I have questions about.
Right.
But, I mean, would it be safer? Would this be giving some radiation to your gonads that could really cause problems later on? I mean, I wouldn't go to China and actually get this particular device. But we make sperm every day.
Right.
So how can this device, when you take it now, stop the sperm that is being produced a month down the line? I mean, how can it do it? Is it actually destroying these germ cells, or what is it doing? My guess is this is not going to turn out to be the case when somebody decides to test it in the U.S.
There's certainly a whole lot of contraceptive methods around. I'm not sure anybody would be
I don't
too
think
interested.
putting an electronic pulsar in my shorts would be the first thing that I would decide to do to stop having a baby at this point. But hey, you first heard about it here on Zorba Pastor on Your Health.
All right, and we'll just leave that there. 1-800-462-7413. Hi, you're on now with Zorba Pastor.
Hi, this is Rebecca. I'm calling from Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Hi, Rebecca. How are you today?
Fine. How are you guys?
Good. What can we do for you?
Well, I'm calling about a difficulty I've been having with my upper arms.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 months ago, we went on a long road trip, and when we came back, my arms were very stiff, and I thought that was the reason, but now it hasn't gone away. Actually, it started in the right arm, upper arm, and then it's progressed into the left arm, where anytime I'm using my arms over my head, or say reclining and propping my head, wherever my elbow is over my shoulder, then I am restricted from my motion and movement, and it's uncomfortable.
Sure. What have you done for it?
Actually, nothing.
Nothing. You haven't done any exercises, taken any anti-inflammatory drugs at all?
No, and I haven't done any exercise more than I normally do. I cross-country ski, and that hasn't exacerbated the problem, but it continues to...
So what are we actually doing with your arms that you feel caused this?
I can't even imagine. Maybe it was the snow in the mountains.
Sure, yeah, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to say. I have a couple of suggestions. First of all, I would recommend some shoulder exercises, range of motion exercises. Go to your trainer, go to your doctor, go to a physical therapist, go to the library, go to the bookstore, and look up exercises for your shoulder. There are lots of books on them, and they're range of motion exercises. One easy exercise is you bend at the waist and you do the alphabet. A, B, C. You go through the alphabet morning, afternoon, and night. Can make a big difference. Wall walking, where you put your arm way above so that your arm is straight up against the wall. That can make a big difference. Plus, for about maybe 2 to 3 weeks, I would take an anti-inflammatory. I would take 2 Aleve twice a day. Cheap, easy, best way to do it, over the counter. You don't need any doctor's prescription for it. With an anti-inflammatory and some exercise, it may get you through this. It sounds like this is an overuse injury of some sort.
Okay.
Little time, little exercise might take care of it.
Well, great. That's easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for calling.
Thanks for the call. You should do some wall walking, like who was it? Astaire or Gene
Yes, right,
Kelly?
like a stair. Wall walking with your fingers and your hands. That's right.
Oh, not up the wall and
Was
over
that a
across the
stair or
ceiling.
was that Kelly? I have no idea who it was, but it was great. I do remember it, and it was in black and white.
Anyway, Rebecca, thank you. Zorba, thank you.
A pleasure, Tom.
For a copy of today's recipe, send a stamped, self-addressed, business-sized envelope to Zorba Pastor on your health, 821 University Avenue, Madison, Wisconsin, 53706.
Or come visit us at our website at www.wpr.org/Zorba, and you'll be there.
Zorba Pastor on Your Health is a production of Wisconsin Public Radio. Theme music by Leo and Ben Sidran. I'm Tom Clark. Let's get together again next week, right here, same time. Zorba Pastor on Your Health.
To buy a cassette of today's program or a whole book of recipes featured on the show, call the radio store at 800-747-7444. For a cassette, ask for program number 0299. For the cookbook, ask for heart-healthy, low-fat, guilt-free, and tasty recipes from the kitchen of Zorba Pastor at 800-747-7444.
PRI, Public Radio International.
First, they tell you to eat margarine, then butter's better. No wonder it's hard to make sense out of today's health news. Hi, I'm Dr. Zorba Pastor.
And I'm Tom Clark, inviting you to join us for Zorba Pastor on Your Health. You'll get the straight scoop on health and fitness and have some fun along the way on Zorba Pastor on Your Health from PRI, Public Radio International.
This program is made possible in part by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
This is KZUM Lincoln, the power of community.
This program is made possible in part by a grant from the Zoo Bar at 14th and P Streets, Lincoln's internationally known blues bar, bringing Lincoln blues, reggae, R&B, and roots rock since 1973.
And by Granite Publishing, publishers of Dr. Roger K. Lear's eye-opening new book, The Aliens and the Scalpel, Scientific Proof of Extraterrestrial Implants in Humans. The telephone number for Granite Publishing is 1-800-366-0264. Or on the web at fifthworld.com. That's number 5, THWORLD.com.
And good morning. This is Scott Colborn with Exploring Unexplained Phenomena. It's great to be with you on this overcast, coldish Saturday morning. With me by phone is our friend Donna from the Capital Humane Society. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Scott.
Great morning, huh?
Yeah, it looks kind of dreary out, doesn't it?
It sure does. How are things at the Capital Humane Society?
Going quite well. You know, we have a lot of friends at the shelter, and by friends I mean a lot of people who are coming in to adopt dogs and cats that need good homes. So, you know, you might come in and you might say, gosh, you don't have a lot of animals available. Well, it's because people like they themselves have been coming in and making wonderful homes for animals that don't have them.
That's fantastic.
It is. It's really, it makes me feel real good. It makes us feel like we're just finding all kinds of good homes, and it just, you know, makes you feel good.
If you've just joined us, this is Donna from the Capital Humane Society, and we're talking about adopting dogs and cats and getting down to 100% adoptions, or getting up to 100% adoptions. I'd like to thank a lot of our listeners for going out there and saying that they've heard Donna on the Weird radio program on Saturday morning and adopting a dog or a cat. Who do you have for us this morning for dogs and cats?
Well, we'll start with our dogs today. We'll start with Sammy. And Sammy is just a real cute little terrier, the type of terrier that has hair going every which way but straight. He's a neat little guy, black in coloring with some gray markings, about 3 years of age and a neutered male. And he has a really sweet little personality. I think if you came in to meet him, you'd say, yep, he's a terrier.
Cool.
Because he has that kind of personality, and a really nice little dog. Next we have Jensen. Jensen is a lab mix. He is black with kind of a graying muzzle, but he's only about 2 to 3 years of age.
Cool looking dog.
So he really is. He's very handsome and distinguished looking.
All right.
Jensen is a neutered male. And here, too, I mean, labs are really good dogs. They're a little bit higher energy, so you need to make sure that you're a person who has the time for a dog, that you can take him for a lot of good walks and runs and just play with him.
Great dogs for kids, too. Okay,
Right.
Jensen looking for a good home.
Right. And then we have Hannah. And Hannah is a dog that we heard about in the news. She is a St. Bernard. She is the St. Bernard that had the harness that was growing into her, under her arms, had not been real well cared for. But Hannah is now available for adoption. She is pretty much healed up, and she's a sweetheart. She's about 5 months of age and a spayed female. Here, too, Hannah has a lot of energy, so she'll need some extra time that you can spend with her, and just play with her all you can, because she will love it.
And some positive TLC also.
Exactly. She will need that.
Okay, 3 good dogs for adoption, and now some
Cats. Yay. Cats are good pets to have at this time of the year because they're such good lap warmers. You know, they'll stay by your side, and they'll always let you know that they're there, always being your friend. So we'll start with our first one, and he is appropriate, or she is appropriate for today. Her name is Icicle. Icicle is a domestic short hair, solid white in coloring. She is an adult, probably 2 to 4 years of age, and a spayed female. Icicle is front declawed, so you do need to make sure she stays as an indoor-only cat.
Icicle looking for a good home. 2 cats are better than 1.
So we'll go with Rhino. Rhino is a domestic long hair. He is a gray tiger, about 2 years of age, and a neutered male.
You know, you just have to wonder how sometimes they get these names. I can just see Rhino just like lumbering around.
Yeah.
Out of my way, I'm coming through.
He's kind of a big cat, but not as big as his name would indicate.
Okay, Icicle and Rhino looking for good homes.
Then we have Captain. Captain is a domestic short hair, kind of the buff-colored tiger cat. So he's a real pale orange. He is an older adult, and he is a neutered male. Now, Captain does not like other cats, so he should go into a home where he is the captain of the house.
Okay, we've got dogs and cats for adoption. Donna, you're open till...
We're open today from 9:30 until 1, and again tomorrow from 1 until 4. And we're located at 2320 Park Boulevard, just off South Street, down next to the school bus yard. And we'd love to have you stop by or give us a call at 477-7722.
Hey, my friend, thanks so much for doing this great work here.
Thank you.
And folks, go out and adopt a dog or a cat. When you're looking for a pet, go see Donna and friends at the Capital Humane Society.
Right.
Donna, we thank you very much for being on the show.
All right. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Great folks doing great work out there, Donna and friends at the Capital Humane Society. I'm Scott Colborn, and this is Exploring Unexplained Phenomena. We're going to take about a 60-second break and be back with a very interesting program. Today's subject, UFO encounters of the very, very close kind. Stay tuned. And we're back. Thanks for waiting, folks. Scott Colborn here at 10:15 with Exploring Unexplained Phenomena. Special guests in the studio, Vicki and Nancy. And it's great to have you both here. We're talking about subject matter that for many people, they have heard through movies and TV shows and the like. But some of us feel they haven't heard the truth about the experiences. They haven't heard the real deal, so to speak. They may have heard a Hollywood spin or a producer or director's impressions of what the UFO close encounter experience might be like. So I thought from time to time it'd be really great to have folks on the show that have had personal encounters, their own experiences, their own face-to-face encounters with something. And it's my pleasure again to welcome Vicki and Nancy in the program. Two people that aptly qualify for this. Let's start, Vicki, first of all, with who you are and a little bit about your background.
Well, my name is Vicki, and I've lived here in Lincoln my entire life. I've was a stay-home mother for many, many years. Now I'm back in the workforce as of several years ago, but have 2 children, 3 stepchildren, and 2 grandchildren so far. Just kind of normal stuff. Had some experiences start approximately when I was about 7 years old. That's about as far back as I can recall those things happening. And a lot of strange stuff happened throughout my life, different experiences that I couldn't explain. It wasn't until about 1987 that a lot of those memories started coming to the surface, and I really started seriously taking a look at what had been happening and what was continuing to happen. With Scott, your help, and a lot of other loving, caring, supportive people, managed to sort a lot of that out. And there were experiences that were somewhat of a negative nature, or at least that's how I perceived them at the time. I'm not sure that they were negative, and some things that were very positive. And I think actually eventually it led me to on a more spiritual path.
What's an example, Vicki, from early on for the audience so they can connect with what you're saying here about one of your quote-unquote experiences from perhaps early on?
Well, let's see. I always like to look back at the first one that I could recall, which was at about the age of 7, where I was, it was a bright, hot summer Nebraska day, and I was playing in the backyard by myself. My 2 older brothers were at a neighbor's playing, and my younger sister was taking a nap in the house. And I was on the swings, and from there I saw we had a very old little rickety garage at the back of the property, and I saw that door open, and the thing I could describe as a funny little man lean out the door and motion for me to come in. Well, the entrance to the garage was on the outside of the fenced-in yard, and I knew I was not supposed to go out there, but for some reason I did it anyway, and walked out to the garage, went into the door, and walked into about the brightest light I've ever seen, and I still remember it as being extremely bright, and kind of lost track of what was happening at that point. And what was several hours later, I woke up in the back of a coat closet inside the house, and not really having any connection as to how I got from one spot to the other, and realizing as I emerged from the closet that people had been looking for me for several hours, and even my dad had come home from work because they couldn't figure out what had happened to me. And that has always stuck in my mind as one of those mysterious things that happens, and as a kid you're going to say you just don't know what it was, and all you can do is try and tell the truth and say, no, I wasn't hiding, I don't know what happened. Mm-hmm. But that's hard to say when you're a kid, I don't know what happened, because parents aren't likely to believe that you don't know what happened. So
this individual that was in the garage door, what did he look like? Was it a he?
I perceived him as a male individual, very small, not much larger than myself, and I was only 7 years old. So a very small, balding man, and that's about all I could remember about him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't see him when I entered the garage, only as he leaned out the door. So,
Nancy, welcome to the program. And how about yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of your first memories or experiences.
Okay, I'm also, my name is Nancy, and I've been in Lincoln most of my life. I've lived a few other places. I've been a single working mom most of my life. Now I am an at-home person because of physical problems. I'd say my first experiences started when I that I recall as an experience when I was about 11 years of age. First, I started seeing unusual things in the sky in the wee morning hours, and not sure what this was, but knew that it wasn't anything that was an airplane or a helicopter or anything like that, because of the weirdness of it and how it danced around in the sky and it'd take off. And then I started having experiences of a huge dark type figure, silhouette figure. It was like a dark shift changer in the night, and it would come towards me, like float towards me, and it paralyzed me, and I was always so frightened. I couldn't move, I couldn't speak, but I could see it coming on to me, and it would always reach out with somewhat of a looking hand, but not quite a normal hand. It was really different, and it'd make me feel just like freezing cold, and I was always afraid that if it touched me, I'd be gone forever, and I'd lose time. At first I thought it was bad dreams, and I'd wake my mom up during the night screaming, and she thought it was bad dreams also, until she told me later in life that she knew there was something wrong, but she didn't know what it was. This followed me through the years. It would come on to me off and on, and I'd always lose time. Sometimes I'd wake up not in my bed. I'd be either on the couch or maybe sitting on the floor. There's been times where I've been in my vehicle and heading somewhere, and nighttime would turn the day, and I'd lose time and somehow end up home in my driveway and not sure how I got there. This thing has always frightened me for years, and I was always afraid to tell people, because I always thought, well, they'll think I'm crazy, and I actually thought I was crazy for a long time, until I was talking to a friend of mine who directed me towards Scott, and Scott and the group has been a real support to me, and I am so thankful they are there. It's like now I don't feel like I'm lost.
It really must be a struggle, Vicki and Nancy, to try to maintain yourself in this world when something else is going on that defies your accountability, it almost defies your imagination. And when we turn to the government or the authorities for information, it's very much like a dysfunctional family where the kids know something weird's going on, and they go to mom and dad, and say, no, nothing's going on. You didn't see what you saw, you didn't hear what you heard, you didn't feel what you touched. So it must be very difficult to maintain that balance, knowing that something's going on, but not having a lot of support out there from people that are saying, yes, we recognize that something's going on. It's been only until the last maybe 5 or 10 years, even at that we've had more support. How has it been for you both to try to integrate this and to keep on going?
Well, one of the things that I found was real difficult for me was that when I was a child, when this started to happen, I sort of withdrew in the class a lot from kids, and I'd be a real quiet student because I felt like there was something wrong with me, or there was something weird about me, and I was afraid that others wouldn't accept me, and so I never told anybody. When I got older, I also became a very secluded person for a long time. It was hard for me to have friends because sometimes when I did meet someone and got to know them down the road and finally opened up a little bit about this, they would back away, and so I learned not to talk about it for years.
Your friends want to talk about the movies they've seen and the restaurants they've gone out to eat at, and when you bring up the subject of this dark figure coming towards you at night,
they always thought I was some kook, so
they don't have a lot of experience with that, and it was pretty hard. It must have been for them to place that, as well as to allow themselves to be open to what you were saying. You were okay, in other words, until you started talking about that, and at that point you weren't okay.
Yeah. It just seemed like I was always felt like I was like an outcast, like I was something that was different from everybody else, and I couldn't understand why this was happening to me. And I kept wanting it to go away, and I'm a very God-believing person, and this would not go away. And for years off and on, I've gone to church and everything else, trying to deal with what has happened to me. And it just, I don't know, I just never got anywhere, and I always felt like there was somewhere I needed to be, but I wasn't sure. And the older I got, the more I decided that I need to get this out and I need to deal with this, because it is just literally controlling my thoughts and feelings, and I lost many nights I've lost sleep because of this.
Well, that brings up a good question there for ways that experiencers can look for support. What about their church, or what about their faith, their upbringing? Vicki, you want to take a stab at that first?
Ooh, that's a touchy subject.
And we talk about touchy subjects.
Yes,
so
that's what we're here for. A lot of people have their own spirituality, irregardless of belonging, quote unquote, to any particular religion. Some people are very religious, and this only enforces their religion for them, and some people it destroys their religion for them, because there's something out there unexplained that their religion does not touch on, and they have no way of dealing with it. And in some religions, I know they frown upon anything outside the written word that happens to you, assuming that big assumption that it must be on the dark side, it must be of the devil, it must be evil, and the only way that you can deal with that is to pray, pray, pray. Well, prayer is very powerful, but I think the thing that's missing from that is the fact that everyone is different, and everyone has to deal with things in a different manner. And although if you're comfortable with prayer or meditation or whatever, the most important thing is to realize, and this was a real big one for me, is to realize that whatever happens to you, whatever happens in your life, becomes a part of you. And if you cannot love yourself, then you can't really love anyone else. So the first big thing is to remember how very special you are, not just in your own eyes, but the people that love you, and I think in the eyes of God or whoever the supreme being might be, and realize how very special you are to even be here, and you need to nurture that.
Some people say that, in fact, there's a waiting list or a waiting line for physical bodies to take as we come into this world here. So there's a lot of souls waiting to incarnate, and the fact that we're here and we actually have bodies is pretty special, that we were somehow at the head of the line or got singled out for this. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been told by a person, perhaps from your church or from the ministerial background, something about this experience, either positive or negative? Have you ever been given support, ever answered questions for you?
Go ahead.
I've never talked to any of the ministers in the churches I used to go through the years. I think due to the fact that I knew that it wasn't of the nature of something evil that was like satanic or whatever. I just knew that it was different. And so I never really discussed it with any church or anything. Now that I've gotten older, I know within myself that my higher power, which is I consider the Almighty Spirit, is always with me, and that I'm an okay person, and that I don't need to take and go to church every Sunday to prove that I believe in the Almighty God. I guess because I always felt that if I did talk about this, I would be banned from a church anyway. So,
well, perhaps now, being older with a more mature perspective, perhaps that might be an experience. If it came across your path that you could talk to somebody like this, if they would be open. The reason for me asking this for you both is that I know an individual that you both know as well, who was told by his church that his close encounter experiences were evil, and that he wasn't praying the right way, he wasn't believing the right way, and if he'd just do more like what they were doing, he would be okay. And he had experiences and things happen irregardless. So when it comes from that sort of vantage point that you're doing something wrong, and that's why you're having this close encounter experience with little people coming to your room, and if you just do things our way, it'll change. When one tries that and it doesn't, it really does do great damage there, sometimes irreparably. Vicki, how about yourself?
Well, what you said is very true, Scott. When you realize that you've tried to conform, you've tried to do what you feel are wise people around you, what you feel you're supposed to do to fit in, be like everyone else, be a part of the group, and it doesn't work, and things keep happening to you, it can really take you down a path of self-destruction, because you do start to feel like something has gone terribly wrong, and maybe you're not even supposed to be here for these quote evil things to be happening to you. And it's very easy to fall into that kind of a situation. That really concerns me about people who have had experiences of any nature, any kind of paranormal experiences, and don't ever find anyone to talk to about that who is open-minded and can say, you know, hey, that happened to me, or oh, that's not so bad, you know, or that's different, and you know, really discuss it with you rather than immediately jump to the conclusion that it's evil, therefore you must be evil, so, you know, I don't want to have anything to do with you. So you can feel shunned and alone, and this is leading up to our support group, which after my coming and talking to you and several other people, you actually had the original idea for to get those people together that were having these strange experiences, so that they wouldn't feel alone, and they wouldn't feel shunned, and they wouldn't feel like they were ostracized from society because of it. And it has been a very strong influence for a lot of people to have that kind of safe haven to go to. And I think it's helped people realize that they're not the only ones these things are happening to.
There's a lot of people out there in our
Yes.
audience that have had these experiences, these close encounter situations. If we, just to interject here, Vicki, if we apply that 2% or 3% factor to Lincoln, that means that there's easily 4,000, 5,000 people in Lincoln of all walks of life, of all ages, that have had very similar experiences and don't have any place to go. There's a lot of people in the audience that deny. There's a lot of people listening right now that have had experiences such as what we're going to be talking about, that feel like they're okay with it and they don't need to work with it, and it's just one of those kind of areas that's kind of gray and not real clear, and they'll just kind of keep it tucked away in the back of their mind. But what we found, of course, is that unless somebody does look at something and make that part of yourself and accept that, it's always sort of gnawing and festering away back there, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Before we go back, Vicki, to your comment, I just want to interject, too, and say that I was not trying to set up the church or religion as being the bad guy.
No.
No.
There are people of the cloth, ministers and rabbis and priests, that do have lots of compassion, that are very open to these experiences if they're personal or anecdotal, that would spend time with people. And the argument could be made that because a person found perhaps one who didn't listen, or who was already swayed by a bad argument to begin with, and didn't see the facts clearly doesn't mean that everybody is like that. I would mention to the audience that my old sidekick, Ray Boucher, who was one of the founders of this program and who is now an ordained minister, may be a person that would be very open to talking with people from a Christian perspective about their encounter experiences, who has a very deep background, and this guy I respect very much. So that might be somebody in Lincoln, at least for the listening audience, that want to go to a minister and talk about this, that Ray Boucher might be a very good source for that. That was a long-winded interjection there, Vicki, but...
That's all right. You made some very good points. I think what...
We're talking about the support group.
Yes. What religion in general fails to look at is that whatever happens in the world obviously is natural and intended to happen, whether it be beings coming from outside our world or another dimension, or ghosts or spirits on this planet, whatever, unusual things, frogs raining from the sky. Obviously, somebody way above us has set this up and allowed these things to occur.
If we say, for example, that because there's an earthquake, that God is really a nasty individual, or because a dear friend of ours passes unexpectedly, that God can't be just and compassionate, loving, then we really set ourselves up for a fall there in terms of our spirituality.
Oh, definitely. I truly, truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And if something of an unusual nature happens to us, it's just because we haven't figured it out yet. And we may or may not, but the search itself might be the point of why we're here.
Right.
Rather than finding all the answers. So if you get a mystery in your life, if you refuse to take a look at it, then you're losing a big portion of who you are. If you're just going to hide it and, like you say, deny, and pretend it never happened, at some point you will have to deal with it, because you just can't keep things like that suppressed.
If you're out in the listening audience right now and would like to, with the cloak of anonymity, not reveal who you are, of course, and talk about your personal encounters, our phone number is 474-5086. We have two good resource people in the form of Vicki and Nancy in the studio today to take your questions and comments. Our phone number is 474-5086. And again, the admonition that if you wait until the end of the program, you won't get on the air. We'll talk about the support group in more detail. What are some other forms of support that you both have looked for? How about support from loved ones? How has it been there?
I have a very good support system for my loved ones. When I finally came forward and started talking about this, in fact, my mate, after being with him for years, finally opened up to him. He also shared with me some weird experiences that happened to him when he was a child. He has had no more experiences. Mine are few and far between, but they still happen. My children have been accepting and very supportive of me. My mother knew that there was something going on, but she didn't know what it was, and she very much believes that, yes, there is something here, because she remembers that there was strange lights sometimes coming from my room, and there's been many a time, she said, that I woke her up during the night, and so she's very much in belief that, yes, there is something to this. I am a very open person. I consider myself that way, and so this hasn't kept me from the church system. That isn't why I don't go. It's just where I'm at with it. But my support group has been, I'm glad that the support group is there. I'm sorry.
Well, that's fine. I was just going to ask you if you and your mom had achieved a measure of healing and Have there been times like you've not wanted to forgive her because things were going on and she didn't listen? Or?
Yeah, I was very angry with her for years, and so because I felt like I wasn't getting through to her that there was something wrong here. And then when I did finally start talking about some of the experiences and what was happening, she related to me, which was real surprising between both of us, that this dark figure happened to her when she was a child, but it was only a one incident. And she remembered that there was some time lost there, and her mother and father couldn't find her, and a storm was coming up, but yet she was on the storm door of her folks' home, just sitting there. But she remembered that this thing came out of the sky upon her, and it is the same dark figure that I have described. I have not been able to get past what it really looks like. I don't know if it's because it is so traumatizing to me or what, but all I know is it's just a huge dark silhouette of, it looks either like a man or woman, but there is no hair or anything on it. It is just like a shadow.
Mm-hmm. There's a thing that we used to do in Dr. Jan Lindgren's dream group that involved having two chairs and doing a dialogue where a person sat in one chair and directed your comments towards this individual or person that you had business with that was in the other chair. And of course, in this example, the other chair was vacant. You were trying to imagine or perceive. And people would say, well, it's just your imagination. Well, your imagination works with some of the same apparatus that the dream maker uses for images and symbols and metaphors. And so, Nancy, it may be that I was struck here by this, and I wonder if you might want to try this, to do a two-chair thing, where you sit in one chair and imagine this dark figure that actually is going to not get you, but take time to talk with you, and to sit in another chair, and to ask this figure a question. Why are you here? Who are you? What's this all about? Questions that you may want to have answers for. And then to actually get up and go and sit in the other chair and respond. I've done that several times, and it's pretty interesting. I thought it was going to be kind of hokey at first, but it seemed like I slipped into the role pretty quick, and I was able to kind of, in effect, answer some of my own questions there. Vicki, how about yourself? How have support been from loved ones for you?
Well, that's been kind of an on-again, off-again. I would say I've had more problems with family than anyone else. I guess because of our upbringing, our Midwestern ideals, family hasn't been necessarily welcoming of these ideas. It's more like that's weird, so you're kind of weird, so I'm kind of considered on the fringes, the outside somewhere, but no one's sure where. The situation has been a problem in several relationships, but in recent years, having found other people that have had experiences has been the saving grace. People to talk with who are open-minded and say, hey, that's some pretty interesting stuff, you know, and take a look at it from a different angle and get other people to give you their opinion rather than shunning you and putting you down and saying, oh, you're really weird, you know, you don't belong here. So
it may be very difficult, and I say this being a male, observing a lot of our female friends in our support group who have had difficulties in relationship, that I've tried to put myself into that mate's shoes. And the male has sort of been raised to be like the defender of the ramparts. You know, we protect against all comers. You know, we're the sort of the warriors of the clan. Although there have been some great examples of women warriors as well. I'm not trying to be sexist, but I'm just saying that that's kind of one of our things. You know,
Oh,
it's our basic grunt work, as a friend of mine calls it. And so to be in a situation where your loved one, your mate, that may be right next to you in bed, something's going on, and that you can't do anything about it. You can't control things. You can't impede the flow. You can't stop things. And in fact, sometimes you may wake up just with a glimmer of what's going on, but be paralyzed. It may be very, very frustrating. So I know that many males that I've talked to just simply deny, and that's one of the ways that they cope with.
And what women need to do is, by our nature, open up and share our feelings and share what's going on. And what men don't realize is, even if they can't save us or rescue us or stop what's going on, the most important thing is for that significant other to be able to listen and soothe and say, it'll be okay.
Vicki and Nancy, we're talking with Vicki and Nancy, in fact, on the show. This is Exploring Unexplained Phenomena. I'm Scott Colborn, and we've got somebody on the air here. And are you there?
Yes, I am.
It's great to have you with us. We're working without headphones today here in the studio, so I'm going to ask you for your comments, and then we'll go ahead and come back and respond.
Okay. I don't want to take you too far off, but I'm curious about your group. I'm curious if you use it to gain some memories, and if you do you kind of use the Bud Hopkins approach or digression therapy, or is there any therapy that's really involved other than the group atmosphere?
That's a good question. In a large sense, what does the group do? And specifically, do we use techniques that Bud Hopkins uses, like hypnotic regression? Are there therapists around, that sort of thing?
I can address that, Scott, a little bit. Everyone, I would say, in the group, people come and go as needed. Everyone in the group is kind of at a different level of dealing with their experiences. Seeking professional help is something that's on a personal level. It's not something that is provided by the group or insisted upon before you can join the group. There's no joining. It's a matter of needing to be with other people who have had unusual experiences. Everyone who's had experiences deals with them in a different way. I personally, at one point, was very frightened of hypnosis and that process, but when my need to know outweighed my fear of finding out, I did go through some hypnotic regression, and quite a bit of it actually, just to flesh out the facts and uncover the things that I couldn't recall, to try to connect the dots, so to speak, and make sense of it. But everyone needs to do that in their own time, in their own manner, and seek whoever they need professionally to help them do that, if they need someone. For some people, just being around other people, just talking about it is
without
enough.
Fear of ridicule. Mm-hmm.
Is enough.
We've made over the years also some bridge building efforts towards the Lincoln psychiatric and psychological community. We've talked with a number of psychologists and psychiatrists, and at least surveyed those who had an open mind or would be willing to work with this on a personal level, and also surveyed a few that that couldn't. Did we, caller, answer your question, or do you want more specifics?
I was curious on when I first addressed the memory itself, if this is something that the abductees have always had, or is this something that kind of comes out through the group? And that's why I was more curious on what the techniques you used.
Okay, when a person comes into the group, do they already have the memory, the conscious awareness of the experience, or is that somehow fleshed out or enhanced or made more vivid by the group process?
Some of it is fleshed out with the group. It has helped me to kind of get a more grasp on what has happened to me through the years. Some of it did come out in a session I had on hypnosis, and I have not been able to go back. Right now I'm having a hard time dealing with what did come to surface. And so I use the group very much as a very strong support and making me feel like I'm not some weird outcast of life, or that there's something bizarre about me that causes this.
I think a question correctly could be asked is that does the group plant false memories in people,
no,
or do
no.
they already have a sense of
No.
what's happened before the group process?
I already had a sense of what's happening. I knew that what was happening to me through the years was something that was not of this earth, and that there definitely was really more to this than was really at first realized with me. The group does not plan anything in my head. I know within myself what is true and what is fact with me. And I just need the support around me, and the group helps me with feeling that I'm not alone.
So some groups perhaps encourage members to conform to a particular vision or a thrust. Would you say that this group is of that kind, or is it different? Does it encourage more of the individual process?
Very, very different. I would say everyone in the group at this time, their experiences are so vastly different that there's no comparison between them, and all we can really do is appreciate the experience for what it is. And you're not going to come in and find someone that has had exactly the same experience. They're so different, and like I said before, everyone deals with that in a different manner. Where the support comes in is that we've all shared something very unusual in our lives, and when we speak to loved ones or friends and make us feel on the outside, the group makes us feel like we're right on. We're
okay.
We're okay.
Caller, did we again answer questions for you? Do you have another comment or question?
No, you'd answered them well. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in. Our phone number is 474-5086, and we've got time for about one more call here. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question, 474-5086. In a large sense, our group, we've called it the UFO Paranormal Support Group of Lincoln. We welcome people that have had non-UFO experiences, that perhaps have had experiences with ghosts, with out-of-body or near-death experiences, with psychic experiences. These people would also be welcome. What's, Vicki, the process? How do people find out about the group? How do they, in effect, attend meetings?
Scott, the mechanics of it, they can either call myself or contact you. And
see, I knew the answer already. I was just...
We'll go from there. We have a questionnaire that we like people to fill out, just to kind of get a feeling of where they're coming from, and make sure that they have a genuine interest in dealing with their own experiences, and not just a burning curiosity to find out what these strange people talk about when they get together. We're not on display. We're there to support each other. And I think that's the important thing to remember.
The emphasis really is on personal experience, isn't it? Talking
Yes.
about your own experience. We discourage people coming that want to pontificate about the planet Zircon and the three-headed beings who are here to save us and take us up in the huge mothership. And they know this because they've channeled this,
Well, that's interesting stuff, but everybody has a different story. So
Yeah, we're more interested in their personal encounter experiences, if they're UFO related, if they're non-UFO related, and as you both have said, we try to offer support in a very open atmosphere. We have Nancy, a good 24 people that may show up at a group meeting.
Yes, we do, and also we have some people that do have somewhat similar experiences. In fact, some have come to the group because they have either come to one of our seminars that we've had where we've spoken stuff and related to a somewhat similar experience of the same nature, and feel like they finally found some place to go where they can vent and talk about these experiences themselves bring it to surface and be okay with themselves and what has happened.
It may be for a lot of us, and Vicki, what do you think about this? That reality as we know it is far more different, bigger, wilder, weirder, more wonderful than we typically acknowledge. It seems like we humans have all kind of attempted to join together and figure out what is, and we've really tightly, narrowly defined what the human experience is, and yet your experience and Nancy's experience may indicate that that vision is really limited, and it's in fact a lot bigger and broader than what we'd defined previously.
That vision is very limited, but I guess it's the natural order of things for a lot of people to stick with what's comfortable and what they know and what's familiar in their life, and to kind of push aside anything else that happens as being not important to them. But everything that happens is important, as we know, and having had the experiences for a long time gives you a much broader look at what's real, at what's happening, at how huge the whole picture is. But that doesn't necessarily have to make you feel insignificant. It makes you feel like a very important part of something very intricate that's going on. And I kind of feel a little for people who cannot wake up and take a look at other things happening in their lives. Nancy? Anything you want to add?
Well, one of the things that I think people need to realize is that this universe is so vastly huge and endless that it'd be a shame to think that a person get themselves so closed-minded that there wouldn't be other beings out there among the universe. And it'd be such a waste if we are the only intelligent beings out there, due to the fact that I just know within myself that we're not alone. We're very much not alone, and there is different types of beings out there. And I finally am realizing that we are being visited, I believe, by more than just one kind.
What would you, Nancy and Vicki, also say to parents of children right now who may be talking about somebody coming into their bedroom at night, or the strange nosebleed that has no basis? What would you suggest or comment to parents that might be hearing about this firsthand?
My first response would be, listen to your children. Listen to what they tell you. Children are closer to the source than we are as we grow older, and they see and hear things that a lot of adults don't, as far as what's going on around them. Listen to them. Don't tell them that it'll stop. Mommy and Daddy will be there to save you. Just help them try and understand what has happened at their own level of understanding. That depends on age.
Let the kids know that they've got a place to go and talk about it, that you are as a parent interested in what they have to say, that you want to hear about these things.
Things happen, that you have to tell them. Things happen. Sometimes there are things we don't like. Sometimes there are things we like. And Mom and Dad can be there to kind of help you sort it out. But I think it's a big mistake to tell children that it's going to stop, or you can make it stop, or that sort of thing.
Or it's just bad dreams, and
Right.
to forget about it and don't be talking about it or telling other people about it, that you're an okay person. I found that with my own grandson, he has had some kind of a weird experience, and I allow him to talk about that. I don't emphasize or bring in any of my stuff. I just listen to him.
Nancy and Vicki, thank you very much. We're out of time here on the program. Time now for New Dimensions. I want to thank you very much for taking time to come up here and talk about your encounters with something that we are just sort of sensing at present, that we know from our experiences is very real and is taking place. And I want to thank you publicly for your courage, not only in attending the groups, but also to coming on the radio show this morning and talking about it in a very public forum. And I thank you for that. I hope in some sense that your comments and your courage will help other people in the audience to step forward. How can people that are interested find out more about the Lincoln UFO Paranormal Support Group?
Well, they can always call me. I'm Vicki, and my local number is 474-0603, or they can contact you, Scott.
Outside the station.
Outside the station. If you want to give your location or number.
They can look me up. They know where I'm at.
Most people do know where you're at, so.
Nancy, again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Vicki, take care. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to the program today. It's been another great program of exploring unexplained phenomena. My guest next week is the psychic Donna Sebo. 2 weeks from today is the Israeli UFO researcher Barry Chamish with some interesting updates on the Middle East and the paranormal. Stay tuned for New Dimensions, and until next week, walk in beauty.
This program is made possible in part by a grant from the Zoo Bar at 14th and P Streets, Lincoln's internationally known blues bar, bringing Lincoln blues, reggae, R&B, and roots rock since 1973.
And by Granite Publishing, publishers of Dr. Roger K. Lear's eye-opening new book, The Aliens in the Scalpel, Scientific Proof of Extraterrestrial Implants in Humans. The telephone number for Granite Publishing is 1-800-366-0264. or on the web at fifthworld.com. That's number 5thworld.com.
This is KZUM, Lincoln. The power
This program
of community.
is made possible in part by a grant from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Made possible in part with the support of Wisdom Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day of life-affirming programming on Wisdom Television and Wisdom Radio. Call 1-888-694-7366. Distribution of New Dimensions is made possible in part by the Institute of Noetic Sciences, a worldwide membership organization based in the San Francisco Bay Area that seeks to understand changing perceptions about science and spirituality. New Dimensions is made possible in part by the Society for the Universal Human and the Living Enrichment Center. Mary Mannon Morrissey, spiritual director and author of Building Your Field of Dreams.
It is only through a change in human consciousness that the world will be transformed. The personal and the planetary are connected. As we expand our awareness of body, mind, psyche, and spirit, so also will the world be changed. This is our quest as we explore new dimensions.
Time. Most of us have too little of it. In this contemporary world of living in the fast lane, it seems like time has speeded up, and we're all feeling like victims of busyness. It used to be a symbol of success to be busy with many responsibilities and lots to do, but it has become both an affliction and an addiction. There may be another way to experience time, a way that goes beyond the overhyped time management industry of books, tapes, and seminars, this obsessiveness with being more efficient and productive. This is our focus, to explore another way of relating to time with our guest, Jacob Needleman. Jacob Needleman is an internationally acclaimed philosopher and writer. Professor at San Francisco State University, he's the author of several notable and popular books, including Lost Christianity, The Heart of Philosophy, the best-selling Money and the Meaning of Life, and Time and the Soul, Where Has All the Meaningful Time Gone, and How to Get It Back. Join us for the next hour as we examine time from a soulful perspective with our guest, Jacob Needleman. I'm Michael Toms. I'll be your host. Welcome to New Dimensions. Jacob, of course, I know you as Jerry. So
Jerry, please.
Jerry, welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here, Michael.
So what's happening to time? It feels like we're losing time, or somehow we don't have enough time. None of us have enough time.
It's an incredible thing. I mean, the paradox, the irony of it. 150 years of inventions designed to save us time, and nobody has any time left. Time is just disappearing from our lives, from our culture. It's what I call the new poverty. We have lots of things, but we have no time left. It's as you say, it's an affliction. It's an epidemic. Even little children are making dates for playing, and they have little date books and schedule. And almost everybody I meet, no matter what their economic status, almost everybody is pressed and rushed. Somewhere in our culture, somewhere in our history, we chose things over time. We didn't realize that by choosing things, material things, all these consumer goods, all these improvements, all these technological improvements in our life, we didn't realize that we were going to pay for it with our time. And
I remember just 25 years ago, there was all this talk about leisure time that was going to come in the next 10 years because of all the technology developments that were happening, and we were going to have all this leisure time. And they sold, here in California, they sold second homes based on this future leisure time revolution that never occurred.
Never, for most people, it never occurred. For some people, yes, but 90% of us, there's no leisure time at all. That's a joke, a bad joke. People are being driven, obsessed by the lack of time in their life. So I think it's our great affliction as a culture. We've got to find a way to face it, understand it, and rediscover ourselves.
One of the things you wrote about in this Time and the Soul was that time as not as a problem, but as a question.
Yeah.
Why should time be a question?
Well, we as a society have been very addicted and very capable at solving problems. That is, of doing something, of seeing something that's wrong and trying to fix it. And in the outer world, we've been very successful technologically at fixing things. But the great issues of human life have to be seen as questions that we live with, that we ponder, that we try to open our hearts and minds to. There are no answers in that sense. There are just states of confronting realities in ourselves and contradictions and yearnings. And so time is a metaphysical as well as a practical issue. It's a practical problem, but it's a metaphysical question. And we are metaphysical beings. Metaphysics has to do with being. It has to do with what we are, with our state of consciousness, with our place in the cosmic order, with the quality of our perception, with our inner life, with our inner presence, with the vibration that is meant to be inside of us and not be spent out on doing and thinking and wanting and all the rest of it. So we cannot solve this issue of time with problem-solving techniques. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Wasn't it Rilke who wrote Live the Questions?
Yeah, he said that very well. People have been very helped by that. He said there are certain things, certain questions. Don't be in a hurry. He writes to this young poet, I think. Don't be in a hurry to solve them. Live with them. Let them ripen in you, and their answer, in a way, will come flower all by itself. And we have to be able to do that with time.
I think in this society, we're answer-oriented. We're always looking for the 10 steps to success, or the 3 keys to good health, or the 4 steps to losing weight. It's like an answer-oriented society. Let's give us the answer. Give us the answer.
Yeah.
Not the question, but the answer.
Oh, yeah, that's true. But if you really look at, there's a kind of a slogan it's kind of a slogan. Humanity doesn't suffer from its questions, but from its answers. We're constantly having answers which are not really the whole answer and having to pay for it. Yes, we are addicted to fixing things up, and nobody can fix up time.
Yeah, nobody can fix up time. Isn't in some sense time a mental construct? If we look at quantum physics, we start to realize that, time is malleable. The speed of light, time becomes relative. So in some sense, isn't it something coming out of our mental process?
I think there's something very much to that. At the same time, there's something so real about time. You can say it's a mental construct. Yes, for physics, you can do it that way. For science fiction stories, for playing with ideas, yes. But when we live, it's something so damned real about time, the passage of time. We're going to, this morning, there's noon, there's night, there's life, and I'm going to die. And you can say all the construct you want, but in fact, it's a bottom line reality. So there's something real about our condition. Now, of course, we have these concepts of views of time which have been imposed on us by culture and technology. And the invention of the clock, was a relatively recent thing. And people living by the ticking clock and simultaneity around the whole large. People no longer live by the seasons, by the organic pulses of nature. All that is true. But when no matter how much you say that, we are still time-bound beings, and we have to understand that very deeply.
I seem to remember having a different sense and experience of time as a child than I've had as a growing adult. And certainly now my experience of time is very different than when I was a child. Why is it that it changes over time as we get older?
It's very true. Everyone notices that time passes quicker now. When we were a child, a day was like a year, or sometimes, or at least a month was like and the summer was, you remember the endless summer? The summer's going to be endless, and you have so much, and now suddenly it's Christmas, and it's terrifying.
Yeah, another Christmas, right?
Yeah.
I have this memory of standing in the outfield playing baseball as a kid, and having the conscious thought that, really enjoy this moment now, enjoy this time now, because it's not going to come your way again. So get the most out of it you can. I used to have that thought as a child. And I look back on that and say, gee, that was amazing. I was thinking that then.
But that's exactly what we need to do. We can recover that. It's not a technique, but we can recover the sense of the eternity of the present moment. That takes a kind of an effort of our mind and feeling to do that. But right now, as we're sitting here, we could be more present, but it's difficult for us because it's being taken by thoughts, by ideas, about worries, about the schedule, about all the rest of it. And we're never there in the moment, but we're given these moments in our life, even as a grown-up, and sometimes they're under very tragic circumstances, a death of a loved one, a great disappointment, something suddenly, even for a period of maybe days, hours, days, I am there, and time passes very differently.
Well, certainly a recognition of our own mortality brings us in direct contact with time.
Absolutely, or our own mortality, or being with a loved one under very intense conditions. Suddenly time disappears.
Yes.
We know how that is. So we know it's possible for us, but the culture doesn't know about it. The culture doesn't support it, doesn't understand the value of that. It understands getting things. It understands results. It doesn't understand the interiority of our life.
So how do we make the shift? If the culture doesn't support it, how do we make the shift in the culture that doesn't support it?
It's very possible to find people who understand this, who feel this, like we're sitting here together, who can come together and work at supporting a life of presence. And that will take help from other people. I don't think we can do it alone, but there is a community. It's not just a so-called New Age community. I've seen this now with people from all walks of life, who the moment they hear about the reality of timeless presence, immediately say, yes, I understand that. People like that can work together.
So it's like creating a circle of support.
Yes, I think so. And to acknowledge it, to realize that we all have these moments, but we have to know how to value them and how to find our way to them again. I think it's not like there are techniques. It's just like, it's something it's like a gift. But we, like all the great spiritual traditions, spiritual work consists in making yourself available for the gift. In this case, it's the gift of real time.
And this is very different than, quote, time management, unquote.
Yeah, the time management is useful as a method sometimes, for ordinary efficiency. But where I liken it in the book, it's like, the cliche that everybody says, like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic.
Right?
You have a better arrangement on your little boat that is going toward the falls. That's time management, basically. We have to understand that we're going toward the falls. And it's not a question of having a more efficient little boat. It's a question of not falling over the falls, which is possible in us. There's something in us that is timeless, and that can endure.
Well, these questions that you're bringing up, these are questions